crave chaotic. I don't taste the pain when I stay neurotic. What I see is what I believe, so I like to paint the picture. Madness in every streak to put the shadow figures. If it's all habitual hate, I'd rather dissociate. Chaos is what keeps me sane. Thunder to silence the rain. I think I crave chaotic. I don't taste the pain when I stay neurotic. So why would I wanna change? It's safe inside the void. I'm lost in. I'm drowning out the noise with chaotic.
Evenings, Freedoms, Helldivers. Tonight's intro was Chaotic by Memphis Mayfire, sent my way by a good personal friend of mine, leader of the 14th Ursine Corps, and distinguished member of the Freedom Alliance, Oso the Bear, who I hear spends his days on the Terminid quarantine zone brawling with Chargers. And winning. Really, just gigantic bear-clawed hands, punching Terminids right in the face. Tonight's top story is the recently successful Angelic Order. My shipboard AI has been upgraded with the latest and greatest alien technology and busted through Super Earth's firewalls like they were made of wet tissue paper. Yeah, everybody's gangsta until your quantum mainframe starts wearing 40 trillion copies of Banzai Buddy. Get good, fascist. The fallout from this is nothing short of cataclysmic. As far as I can tell, we just dropped a mini nuke on the Ministry's Personnel Records Department. It is going to take them years to get all this sorted out. Unfortunately, our alien adversaries have taken notice that not all is well in the House of Super Earth, and we are facing renewed aggression on every single possible front. Angelic refuge forces have been deployed to the Illuminate Death Frontier to try to slow the ugly kids down. If the squids end up taking Prosperity Falls and knock out the Freedom Alliance and WFAR, well, we might as well GG now. I have asked my bestie from another nestie, Lady Electo, to cover the Western Front, because shooting automatons right in the faceplate is her Pringles-esque addiction. Once you pop, you just can't stop. I have also heard that the 95th Roughnecks and the 14th Ursine Corps have deployed to the Terminid quarantine zone to try to help Inari out. Knowing the boat divers' capacity for making miracles, they'll probably be okay. We haven't had a major bug incursion that our caped crusaders couldn't handle since the TCS disaster last year. Even then, sufficient amount of flamethrower fuel and high-caliber ammunition can accomplish an awful lot of divine intervention, Helldiver style. Oh yes, we know what the ladies like. Now for some domestic good news before I move on to the utter fluffing nightmare that is the border worlds. Last night, November 20th, was my mother's birthday, and when I asked her what she wanted, she simply replied for me to take my husband out to dinner and make a donation to St. Jude's or to the Salvation Army or just basically someone less fortunate than her. Well, my sibling in liberty, Studio Mercy, and not to be confused with my omniscient shipboard AI, took to that request with gusto and is putting together a $1,000 donation to the St. Jude's Helping Hands charity. I also hear tell that the Freedom Alliance is going to try to throw together something for the holiday season regarding Toys for Tots, and I will be heading down to a local food bank to donate $200 personally, because nobody goes hungry for Thanksgiving in my sector of space. Not on my watch. Is it really a mighty federation if for a sick and starving child it doesn't care? Link to Studio Mercy's charity drive is in the description below. Now we get to the domestic affairs of Yellowveer, Alta 5, and Deluvius. I figured that losing access to their personnel files would demoralize the MOT and make them realize how impossible this mad dream of theirs was. Instead, I think that just miffed them off and they doubled, tripled, and quadrupled down all for fluff's sake. The official channels say that these worlds are under a state of patriotic emergency. The truth? That those worlds are terrified, and not by the aliens, but us. streets are patrolled by armed SEAF squads. Curfews are enforced with lethal consequence. Random checkpoints dot formerly tranquil towns, and homes are invaded and ransacked with the word warrant being synonymous with treason. People are being dragged from their homes because of new haircuts, missed work shifts, or antisocial behavior and thrown in prison. If a citizen cannot sneeze without being labeled a traitor, the problem is not the citizen. The problem is the system. SEAF garrisons were pulled from other defenses to police civilian neighborhoods. The madness. And the Automatons noticed. The Terminids noticed. They smelled our weakness. And now we face 3 simultaneous incursions across all fronts. I am really glad that the ministries did not pull this garbage when we were fighting our very souls out for Super Earth. Otherwise, our homeworld would be a fluffing memory right now. The ministries claim that this is proof of the dire threat posed by dissidents, but tell me, soldier, who opened the gates? You? The good people of Yellowveer? A teenager with a stupid haircut? Or the ministry that weakened our lines for political theater? Soldiers of the Super Earth Armed Forces, I want you to listen to me very carefully. When you're faced with an illegal order, you are not merely free to refuse it. It is your civic duty, a moral imperative to do so and be possessed of the intelligence to know the difference. In the legal order, he is described as such. It must come from the proper authority, not an angry corporal with tiny democratic dangly bits and something to prove. It must serve a legitimate military purpose. Getting humiliated by me on air is not military purpose. It does not violate Super Earth law. Assault of civilians, destruction of property, coercion, all unlawful. And lastly, it does not compel a crime. If an order forces you to violate law, duty, or conscience, it is void. Not questionable, not gray, void. That is what the Super Earth Uniform Code of Military Justice has to say on the topic. You are the shield of humanity, not the fist of frightened bureaucrats. You swore an oath to protect Super Earth, not pretend its citizens are enemies. While SEAF hunts imaginary dissidents, the real enemy advances. Terminid swarms, automaton incursions, and even now the Illuminate are weaving their shadows. Win this ground because our leaders are chasing ghosts, and they are ordering you to take the fall for their gross incompetence. If you were walking patrol on Yellowveer tonight and that rifle feels a little heavier than usual, if you look into the eyes of a citizen and you see fear staring back at you instead of gratitude, you already know the truth. You don't need me telling you this. You were not trained as an enforcer. You were trained as a defender. And humanity desperately needs defenders right now. The law is on your side. Your conscience is on your side. History is on your side. And I am on your side. When the ministry says obedience is patriotism, remind them, patriotism is doing what is right, not what is convenient. Right now, we have a major order to defend against 8 attacks over the next week, and already we are dealing with 3 of them. Soldiers of Yellowveer, of Alta 5, and of Diluvius. If you really want to defend humankind and you can pry the boot of your oppressors off your neck, we could really use your help out there. That's been Liberty's latest with me, Pandera the Radio Angel. Resistance is pretty stiff in the Death Frontier, so I might be out of contact for the next few days. Things are not looking good down here. Think about what I said, soldiers. Do the right thing. Please. For liberty, for freedom, for democracy, and for all humankind.